What if you could face the most cunning manipulator and not only remain calm, but walk away stronger? What if their psychological games could become your training ground for unbeatable presence? The power to shut down manipulation isn't in arguing louder, it's in a quiet, unshakable mind. Shut down manipulators without losing cool. Compiled and published by Stoic Dominion. Lessons 1. Know the manipulator's playbook. Imagine a grandmaster of chess sitting down to a game. She knows that the battle is not just about the pieces on the board, but about the patterns, strategies, and psychological pressures her opponent might use. She has spent countless hours studying classic openings, common traps, and deceptive gambits. She is not just a player, she is a scholar of the game. Her knowledge is her shield. She can recognize a trap long before it is sprung, not because she is psychic, but because she has studied the playbook. This is the first step to mastering any opponent. This brings us to a deeply confusing and draining inner conflict. We have all found ourselves in conversations or relationships where we feel constantly on the back foot. We feel twisted around, emotionally exhausted, and somehow always in the wrong. Yet we can't quite put our finger on why. We are playing a game without knowing the rules, while the other person seems to have written them. The problem statement is this: our ignorance of manipulation tactics makes us easy targets. Manipulators, whether consciously or unconsciously, rely on a predictable set of psychological plays: guilt-tripping, gaslighting, playing the victim, moving the goalposts, to control our emotional state and, through it, our actions. We feel powerless because we are trying to react to each move individually, unaware of the larger deceptive strategy being deployed against us. The transformative solution is to become the grandmaster. You must calmly and dispassionately study the manipulator's playbook. This is not so you can use these tactics yourself, but so you can recognize them instantly. The core idea is that a trick exposed is a trick that no longer works. When you can silently label the tactic being used against you, that is a guilt trip, or this is a classic case of gaslighting, the emotional power of the manipulation evaporates. It is no longer a mysterious personal attack. It is a predictable, impersonal tactic. Your knowledge becomes an unbreakable shield. This approach is rooted in the Stoic emphasis on reason and clarity over emotional reaction. The Stoics trained themselves to look past the surface appearance of things, the impression, and to analyze the underlying reality. A manipulator creates a confusing and emotionally charged impression. By studying their playbook, you are learning to see the cold, mechanical reality beneath that impression. You are choosing logic over their manufactured emotional chaos. To begin this practice, you must become a student of the game. For the next week, your task is to conduct a playbook analysis. You will research common manipulation tactics, look up terms like gaslighting, love bombing, guilt tripping, moving the goalposts, and playing the victim. Then, in a private journal, reflect on past interactions in your life. Try to identify times when these tactics were used against you. Write down the situation and the specific tactic you now recognize. The profound benefit of this practice is the dawn of immense clarity. The fog of confusion that has surrounded these difficult interactions will begin to lift. You will feel a sense of empowerment as you realize you were not going crazy. You were simply playing against someone using a hidden rulebook. This knowledge removes the personal sting and transforms these painful memories from sources of shame into valuable case studies for your training. You are no longer an amateur stumbling around the board. You are becoming the grandmaster who sees the entire game. Knowing the playbook is your shield. But to wield that shield effectively, you need a steady hand and a calm heart. In our next lesson, we will focus on building unshakable emotional control. If you are ready to learn the rules of the game, declare it in the comments below. I will study the playbook. Your commitment to knowledge strengthens our entire community. Please remember to subscribe to the Stoic Dominion channel and like this video to support our shared mission. Lessons 2. Build unshakable emotional control. Imagine a bomb disposal expert approaching a highly sensitive device. The device is designed with one purpose: to explode when triggered. The expert knows that the slightest tremor, The smallest slip of the hand or a single moment of panic will result in catastrophe. His greatest tool is not his wire cutters. It is his own nervous system. His power lies in his ability to maintain an absolute state of inner calm and focus while under the most extreme pressure imaginable. His unshakable emotional control is what allows him to study the device, understand its mechanism, and deliberately diffuse it, rendering it harmless. Your emotions are that volatile device, and a manipulator is someone who is actively trying to trigger them. This brings us to a core inner conflict. We want to remain calm and composed when facing a difficult person, but we find ourselves getting pulled into their drama. We get angry, frustrated, or defensive, exactly as they seem to want. The problem statement is that a lack of emotional control is the manipulator's greatest ally. They create chaos in order to provoke a reaction in you. Once you react emotionally, you are no longer thinking clearly. You are now playing their game, on their terms, and you have handed them the controls. Your emotional reaction is the explosion they were hoping to create, and it allows them to take charge of the situation. The transformative solution is to become the bomb disposal expert of your own mind. You must train yourself to build an unshakable emotional control that is impervious to the manipulator's provocations. The core idea is that your emotional state is your own sacred territory, and you have the sovereign right to decide who and what is allowed to disturb it. A manipulator's words are just probes, searching for a trigger. Unshakable emotional control is the act of consciously diffusing those probes before they can hit their mark. It is the ultimate assertion of your personal freedom. This is the Stoic virtue of apatheia, equanimity, in its most practical, modern application. The Stoics trained to be indifferent to things outside their control, and another person's attempt to provoke you is fundamentally outside your control. What is in your control is your own inner response. By mastering this, you create a force field of calm around yourself that no manipulator can penetrate. They will find that their provocations, their insults, their guilt trips simply have no effect. This is profoundly disarming for them and profoundly empowering for you. To begin this training, you must practice a daily emotional acclimatization. For 10 minutes each day, you will sit in a quiet place and deliberately bring to mind a mildly irritating or frustrating situation. It could be a memory of a recent annoyance or a thought about a future challenge. As you hold this thought in your mind, you will feel the first sparks of an emotional reaction, a tightening in your chest, a feeling of heat. Your task is not to suppress this feeling, but to simply sit with it. You will breathe deeply and calmly, observing the physical sensations of the emotion without judgment. You are the expert, studying the device. You are allowing a small, controlled amount of volatility into your system and practicing maintaining your calm in its presence. You are acclimatizing your nervous system to discomfort, proving to yourself that you can feel an emotion without being commanded by it. Start small, with minor irritations, and as your skill grows, you can practice with more significant emotional charges. The profound benefit of this practice is that you will dramatically increase your tolerance for emotional discomfort. Your emotional flashpoint will get higher and higher. Situations that used to trigger an immediate reaction will now barely register. You will develop the steady hands and calm heart of the bomb disposal expert, able to handle the most volatile situations with grace and control. You are no longer the bomb. You are the one who diffuses it. Emotional control is our primary defense. But to be truly effective, we must also become experts at recognizing the specific triggers the manipulator tries to activate. In our next lesson, we will learn how to spot these triggers before they explode. If you're ready to build your inner calm, declare it in the comments. I am the bomb disposal expert. Your commitment to this discipline helps us all stay cool under pressure. Please remember to subscribe to the Stoic Dominion channel for more empowering strategies. Lessons 3. Spot triggers before they explode. Imagine an expert tracker moving silently through a dense jungle. He is not just looking at the beautiful scenery. His senses are heightened, and his mind is trained to see what others miss. He notices a subtly bent twig, a patch of disturbed earth, a vine that looks out of place. To the untrained eye, these are meaningless details. To the tracker, they are the telltale signs of a hidden trap. By spotting these small triggers in his environment, he is able to navigate the dangerous jungle safely, avoiding the snares that would have captured a less observant traveler. Your emotional landscape is that jungle, and a manipulator is someone who has laid hidden traps for you. This leads to a common and frustrating inner conflict. We find ourselves suddenly exploding with anger or defensiveness in a conversation, and afterwards, we wonder, where did that come from? We feel hijacked by our own emotions, as if an external force took control of us. The problem statement is this: our lack of self-awareness means we are constantly stumbling into our own emotional traps. These traps, our triggers, are sensitive emotional wounds or deeply held insecurities, a fear of being seen as incompetent, a sensitivity to being ignored, a deep-seated need for approval. Manipulators are experts at spotting these vulnerabilities and poking them, often subtly, to provoke a predictable, emotional reaction. We are the traveler who walks through the jungle, blind to the signs, and repeatedly steps into the same snare. The transformative solution is to become the expert tracker of your own inner jungle. You must map your own emotional terrain and learn to recognize the signs of your own triggers before they are sprung. The core idea is that a trigger spotted is a trigger disarmed. When you can see the bent twig on the path ahead, you can simply choose to walk around it. The trap never springs. This requires a radical form of self-honesty, a willingness to explore your own wounds and insecurities, not as a source of shame, but as a source of crucial strategic information. This is a deep application of the Stoic maxim, know thyself. The Stoics believed that self-knowledge was the prerequisite for all wisdom and virtue. A man who does not know his own weaknesses is a man who cannot defend himself. By courageously mapping your own triggers, you are not dwelling on the past, you are preparing for the future. You are turning your vulnerabilities from liabilities that can be used against you into well-guarded points in your inner fortress. To begin your practice as an inner tracker, you will conduct a trigger autopsy. For the next week, your task is to become a detective of your own recent emotional explosions. Think back to the last time you had a disproportionately strong negative reaction. In your journal, you will describe the event. Then you will perform the autopsy by asking a series of questions. First, what was the external event? E.g., my colleague criticized my idea in a meeting. Second, what was my immediate raw emotional reaction? E.g., I felt a hot flash of shame and anger. Third, and most importantly, what was the hidden wound that the event touched? What was the deeper fear? Be honest. Was it my fear of looking stupid in front of my peers? Was it my insecurity that my ideas are not good enough? You must go beneath the surface anger to find the tender spot. By writing this down, you are putting a red flag on the map of your inner jungle. Here lies a snare called fear of looking incompetent. The goal is not to eliminate the wound overnight, but to become exquisitely aware of its location and its trigger mechanism. The profound benefit of this practice is that you will begin to see manipulations coming from a mile away. When a manipulator makes a subtle comment designed to poke at your insecurity, you will recognize it for what it is, an attempt to lead you toward a hidden trap. A little voice in your head will say, he is walking me toward the incompetence snare. This awareness gives you the power to consciously choose a different path. You are no longer the blind traveler. You are the expert tracker, moving with confidence and safety through any terrain. Spotting the trigger is crucial. Now we must master the moment the trigger is pressed, the critical space between the provocation and our action. In our next lesson, we will master the pause under pressure. If you are ready to map your inner jungle, declare it in the comments. I am the tracker. Your commitment to self-knowledge makes the path safer for us all. Please remember to subscribe to the Stoic Dominion channel and continue your exploration. Lessons 4. Master the pause under pressure. Imagine the gatekeeper of a mighty, impenetrable fortress. His job is not to fight battles, but to be the master of a single critical moment. The moment a stranger arrives at the gate. A foolish gatekeeper would throw the gate open immediately, allowing any enemy, spy, or saboteur to rush in and cause chaos. A wise gatekeeper, however, understands the power of the pause. When a visitor arrives, he holds them at the gate. In this deliberate pause, he has the time and space to assess the visitor, to check their credentials, to discern their true intent. Only after this calm assessment does he make a conscious decision to open the gate or to send the visitor away. The fortress's security rests entirely on the gatekeeper's mastery of this crucial pause. A manipulator's words are the stranger at your gate. This metaphor highlights a key inner conflict. When we are under pressure, when we are provoked or challenged, we feel an overwhelming sense of urgency to react immediately. The problem statement is this: our inability to pause under pressure is our greatest vulnerability. The manipulator thrives on this. They create a sense of urgency. They provoke an emotional reaction, precisely because they know that a person who is reacting quickly is not thinking clearly. We are the foolish gatekeeper, and in our haste, we throw open the gates of our mind and allow their chaos to become our chaos. We lose control of the situation because we first lost control of our own timing. The transformative solution is to become the wise gatekeeper of your mind. You must master the art of the strategic pause, especially when under pressure. The core idea is that the space between a stimulus and your response is where your greatest power lies. By deliberately creating a moment of stillness before you speak or act, you are seizing that power. You are taking back control of the timeline. You are giving your rational mind, your inner king, a chance to come to the throne and make a wise decision, rather than letting your reactive, emotional guard make a foolish one. The pause is not a sign of weakness or hesitation. It is a sign of supreme self-control and strategic thinking. This is the Stoic art of assent, made practical. The Stoics taught that we must not be carried away by our initial impressions. We must make them stand and wait while we examine them. This is what you are doing in the pause. You are making the manipulator's words, the provocative situation, stand and wait outside the gate of your mind while you, the gatekeeper, calmly decide how to proceed. This single skill can revolutionize how you handle every difficult interaction in your life. To begin this practice, you must train your pause muscle. For the next week, your mission is to implement a 3-second rule in all your communications. Before you answer any question, before you reply to any email, before you respond to any comment, especially if it feels charged or confrontational, you will consciously pause for a full 3 seconds. Inhale deeply, exhale slowly. This will feel unnatural at first. The silence will feel loud. But in those 3 seconds, you are performing a powerful mental reset. You are stopping the momentum of the manipulator's urgency. During this pause, you can ask yourself a simple question: what is the wisest, most effective response here? This allows you to bypass your initial emotional impulse and access your higher-level thinking. You are choosing to be the wise gatekeeper. The profound benefit of mastering the pause is that you will almost completely eliminate saying or doing things you later regret. You will become known as a person of immense poise and thoughtfulness. Manipulators will find you incredibly frustrating to deal with because their main weapon, creating a state of reactive urgency, will no longer work on you. You will feel a deep sense of calm and control in situations that used to throw you off balance. You are the master of your own gate. The pause gives us the space to choose our response. Now we must learn how to fill that space with words that are not just calm, but also precise and powerful. In our next lesson, we will learn how to speak with calm precision. If you are ready to master your own gate, declare it in the comments. I will master the pause. Your commitment to thoughtful response creates a more reasoned world for us all. Please remember to subscribe to the Stoic Dominion channel for more lessons in self-mastery. Lessons 5. Speak with calm precision. Imagine a master surgeon performing a delicate life-or-death operation. The pressure is immense. The stakes could not be higher. Yet her movements are not frantic or forceful. They are economical, deliberate, and exquisitely precise. Her scalpel moves with a calm confidence that comes from years of disciplined training. She knows that a single, clumsy movement could cause irreparable harm. She also knows that a single, precise incision can be the act that saves a life. Her power is not in her force, but in the calm precision of her language of action. Your words in a conflict are that scalpel. This highlights a critical inner conflict. When we are in a disagreement, especially with a manipulator, we feel a powerful urge to use a torrent of words. We over-explain, we defend ourselves excessively, we get drawn into long, rambling arguments. The problem statement is this. In a conflict, excessive language is a sign of weakness, and it is a weapon the manipulator will use against you. The more you say, the more ammunition you give them to twist your words, to find inconsistencies, and to keep you emotionally engaged and on the defensive. We think we are clarifying our position, but we are actually just muddying the waters and handing our power away. We are the surgeon trying to operate with a blunt, clumsy instrument. The transformative solution is to learn to speak with the calm precision of the master surgeon. You must learn to use fewer words, but better words. The core idea is that in a conflict, silence and brevity are your greatest allies. When you speak with calm precision, you are communicating that you are in control of yourself and the situation. Your words are not the product of an emotional reaction, but of a clear and deliberate thought process. This makes them incredibly powerful and difficult to argue with. You are refusing to play the manipulator's game of chaotic, endless debate. You are changing the rules to a game of clarity and truth, a game they are not equipped to win. The Stoics were known for their concise and powerful use of language. The word laconic, meaning to use very few words, comes from the Greek region of Laconia, the home of the Spartans, who were admired by the Stoics for their verbal discipline. They understood that a single, well-chosen, truthful statement is more powerful than an hour of defensive rambling. By mastering this verbal economy, you project an aura of unshakable confidence and clarity. To begin this practice, you must embrace the mantra, less is more. For the next week, in any potentially contentious conversation, you will practice the one-sentence response. When a manipulator tries to draw you into a long argument, to guilt-trip you, or to question your competence, you will resist the urge to write a long paragraph in response. Instead, you will pause, and then you will deliver a single, calm, precise sentence that states your position or your boundary without apology or excessive explanation. For example, if someone is pressuring you to do something you don't want to do, instead of a long explanation, the one-sentence response is, "I will not be able to do that." If someone makes a passive-aggressive comment, instead of getting into a debate, the one-sentence response is, "I don't agree with that assessment." If someone is trying to guilt-trip you, the one-sentence response is, "I am confident in my decision." After you deliver your one calm sentence, you must do the hardest part. You must remain silent. Let the silence do the work. Do not rush to fill it. This forces the other person to deal with the clarity and finality of your statement. The profound benefit of this practice is that you will completely short-circuit the manipulator's game. They thrive on long, emotional, and confusing arguments. You are refusing to give them one. You will feel an incredible sense of empowerment as you realize you don't have to justify yourself to people who are determined to misunderstand you. Your calm, brief, and precise statements will act as an impenetrable wall. You are the master surgeon, and your words are a scalpel used with skill and purpose. Speaking with precision is how we defend our position. Now, we must learn how to proactively establish our position by setting boundaries without fear. In our next lesson, we will learn this crucial skill. If you are ready to master your words, declare it in the comments. My words are my scalpel. Your commitment to precision brings clarity to our entire community. Please subscribe to the Stoic Dominion channel to continue your training. Lesson 6. Set boundaries without fear. Imagine a wise and sovereign king ruling over his kingdom. The first and most essential act of his rule is to define the borders of his domain. He draws a clear, unambiguous line on the map and declares, "This is my kingdom. Within these borders, my laws, my values, and my will are absolute. Beyond these borders is the rest of the world." This act of defining the boundary is not an act of aggression. It is a fundamental act of order and self-preservation. It is what allows the kingdom to flourish, safe from the chaos and encroachment of the outside world. That kingdom is your life, and those boundaries are your personal limits. This brings us to a deep and often frightening inner conflict. Many of us are afraid to set strong, clear boundaries with others, especially with people who are demanding or manipulative. The problem statement is this: a life without clear boundaries is a kingdom under constant invasion. We allow the demands, the emotions, and the priorities of others to flood our territory, leaving us feeling drained, resentful, and out of control of our own lives. We say yes when we mean no. We allow our time and energy to be consumed by things we don't value. We are the weak king who has failed to secure his own borders, and as a result, his kingdom is plundered daily by opportunistic invaders. The transformative solution is to embrace your role as the sovereign of your own life, and to learn to set and enforce your boundaries without fear and without guilt. The core idea is that setting a boundary is not a selfish act. It is a necessary act of self-respect. It is a calm, clear declaration of what you will and will not accept. A boundary is not a wall to keep people out. It is a gate that you control. You get to decide who and what comes into your kingdom. For a manipulator who thrives on violating limits and creating chaos, a person with strong, well-defended boundaries is their worst nightmare. The Stoics understood this as living with integrity. They knew that to live a virtuous life, you must be able to say no to things that are contrary to your values and your reason. Your boundaries are the practical application of your personal philosophy. They are the line where your principles meet the real world. Setting them is an act of courage and a fundamental requirement for a life of freedom and dignity. To begin this practice, you must first draw your map. For the next week, your task is to conduct a boundary audit. In your journal, you will identify one area of your life where your boundaries are consistently being crossed. Perhaps it's a colleague who constantly dumps their work on you, or a family member who makes constant guilt-inducing demands on your time. You will then define a new, clear boundary. It must be simple and action-oriented. For example, I will not check work emails after 7 p.m. Or, when this particular person makes an unreasonable request, I will say no. Calmly and without a long justification. The next step is to rehearse enforcing the boundary. This is crucial. You will visualize the situation arising, and you will mentally practice saying your calm, one-sentence refusal. You are preparing for the inevitable pushback. When you do enforce the boundary in real life, the manipulator will likely test it. They may get angry or try to guilt trip you. This is the moment of truth. You must hold the line. You must be willing to endure their temporary displeasure in order to secure your long-term peace, and self-respect. The profound benefit of this practice is that you will take back control of your life and your energy. As you consistently enforce your boundaries, people, especially manipulators, will learn that your kingdom is no longer an easy target. They will retreat. You will feel a massive surge of self-respect and a deep sense of peace. You are no longer the weak king with open borders. You are the wise sovereign, ruling a peaceful and well-defended kingdom. Setting boundaries is how we define our game. Now, for our final lesson, we will learn the ultimate strategy for victory: how to win without playing the manipulator's game at all. If you are ready to secure your borders, declare it in the comments. I am the sovereign of my kingdom. Your commitment to this principle helps us all stand firm. Please remember to subscribe to the Stoic Dominion channel. Lesson 7. Win without playing their game. Imagine a great silent mountain. A fierce wind, representing the manipulator, decides it wants to defeat the mountain. The wind throws all its energy at the mountain. It howls, it shrieks, it batters the rocky slopes with all its might, trying to provoke a reaction, trying to move the mountain. The mountain, however, does nothing. It does not howl back. It does not waste its energy trying to stop the wind. It simply continues to be a mountain, solid, grounded, and unmoved. After a time, the wind, having exhausted all its energy against the mountain's unshakable presence, simply dissipates and blows away. The mountain has won the conflict without ever engaging in the fight. It won by refusing to play the wind's game. This is the final and most masterful response to a manipulator, and it highlights our last inner conflict. Even with all our tools, we can still get drawn into the manipulator's game. We can still feel the urge to outsmart them, to expose them, to prove to them that we see what they are doing. The problem statement is this: the moment you engage with a manipulator on their terms, the moment you enter their drama and try to beat them at their own game of psychological chess, you have already lost. You have descended to their level. You are giving them what they crave most: your emotional energy and attention. You are the mountain, foolishly trying to shout back at the wind. The transformative solution is to learn how to win by refusing to play. This is the ultimate expression of Stoic presence and strength. The core idea is that you recognize the manipulator's game for what it is: a draining, pointless, and unwinnable contest. And you make a conscious, powerful choice not to pick up any of the pieces. You let their provocations, their guilt trips, their subtle attacks fly past you like the wind against the mountain. Your victory is not in your clever response. Your victory is in your serene, unshakable, and unresponsive calm. This is the pinnacle of Stoic wisdom in interpersonal dynamics. It is the realization that some games are so toxic, the only winning move is not to play. You are not being passive. You are making a highly strategic and powerful choice to preserve your most valuable resources: your peace of mind, your emotional energy, and your focus. You are demonstrating that your inner state is so solid and so self-possessed that no external chaos can touch it. To begin this final practice, you must learn the art of the graceful disengagement. For the next week, your task is to become highly aware of when you are being invited into a manipulative game. You will recognize the signs: the bait of an insult, the hook of a guilt trip, the confusing fog of gaslighting. When you recognize the invitation, you will decline to RSVP. You will practice a calm, neutral, and final disengagement. This can take the form of simple, powerful phrases. For example, "I am no longer going to participate in this conversation," or "I can see we are not going to agree, so I am ending this discussion now." Or even more powerfully, you can simply stop responding. You can walk away. You are not storming off in anger. You are the mountain, calmly demonstrating that the wind has no effect on you. This requires immense inner strength, as the manipulator will likely increase the intensity of the wind, trying to provoke you into re-engaging. You must hold firm in your quiet resolve. The profound benefit of this practice is the ultimate liberation. Manipulators will begin to fade from your life because you cease to be a source of the emotional energy they feed on. You will feel an incredible sense of power and peace, knowing that you hold the ultimate trump card in any psychological game: the choice not to play. You are no longer a piece on their board. You have become the mountain, and your victory is your own unshakable peace. From knowing the playbook to becoming the mountain, you now have the tools to shut down any manipulator without losing your cool. You have learned that your greatest strength is your stillness, your greatest power is your response, and your ultimate victory is your own unshakable peace. Thank you for dedicating yourself to this journey of profound self-mastery. Your commitment to building an unshakable mind is a testament to your strength and a gift to the world. If this video has empowered you, please like, comment, and subscribe to the Stoic Dominion channel to continue your training in the art of living wisely.